So your code is packaged and you want to deploy it on Kubernetes? Well, you're at the right place. So let's talk about our situation and how to connect it to yours. If we're just meeting, I'm Michael, I'm from Pixeesoft, and on this channel, we talk about software development, agile, and yeah, pretty much everything in between. So if this is the first time, welcome. Subscribe if you want to keep this conversation going. And at any point during the video, drop a comment below. If you have any question, don't hesitate to ask. I'll be back at any time after the stream to answer all of your questions, and hopefully we can all learn something new. And so here we're having our next stand-up, the third one in this sprint. So let's get going. So this is our Scrum board. It has changed a little bit. Yesterday we talked about NGINX and why the NGINX Ingress Controller might be a better solution for our deployment, namely because it has out-of-the-box WebSocket support. And that is something that we really need for our Python component. Now, yesterday we also talked about the fact that the Python code has some issues or has some technical debt with regards to the requirements or the environment it's running in. Well, I'm really relieved and happy to say that I have overcome those obstacles. I installed a fresh new Anaconda installation. I set up a new fresh environment and just debugged, tried to run the code step by step, went through all of those. This module doesn't exist. Oh, this module doesn't exist. Oh, well, it seems like this module doesn't exist. So I went through step-by-step debugging. Eventually, I managed to install all of the packages, and then I just did pip freeze into requirements.txt file. That one is in place, and now it's packaged in a Docker container. And as you can see here, there's one tiny little thing that's missing, Docker file in Bitbucket. Now, I don't want to commit the file into the Git repository until I've tried it. So I can't mark this issue as resolved because I don't want to commit something that doesn't work. So I will now move on to creating the cluster of or with the NGINX Ingress Controller in place, and I'll try to deploy the data feeder onto that cluster to see how it works together. Hopefully there won't be any issues because I also found where the constants are defined. Thank goodness it's in a .ini file and it can be injected into the container when creating the image. So that's good. That's all identified, and now I just need to try it out and see how it works, if it communicates with the production database, and if it starts doing something, if it responds to WebSocket connection. So frankly, this will be a lot of, again, manual deployment work. I think there will be a lot of waiting, like with the API service, where I'll just deploy it and wait for 10 minutes to see if it actually works. But I think I can overcome that. I know what I'm getting into. It's known waters. So yeah, that's what I'll be focusing on. In fact, I don't need to deploy the memcached Swift object storage and MongoDB yet because the data feeder has no data to feed. So thank goodness it's lazy loading. So unless there's something to be fed, it doesn't connect to memcached Swift object storage and MongoDB. So I can deploy it and just connect to the WebSocket and say, is there anything? And data feeder will look into the database and say, well, no, there are no edge devices yet. So there's definitely no data to be served. So in that regards, I can try and deploy it and see what it does. If it does work, I'll just commit the Docker file as well and close all of these three issues all together, probably tomorrow during the stand-up, and I'll move on to the next adventure, which will be making sure that the eater eats some data and stores it. But that's a whole nother story, so let's not jump that. And as I always say, the stand-ups should be brief and short, so I'll end it here. I just want to point you out to our blog on pixeesoft.blog. We just published our weekly changelog where you can catch up with everything that changed last week. That's again https pixeesoft.blog. Do check it out and maybe tell us what you think. Drop us a note, or maybe hit us up on the social networks and say what you think. Also, if you have any questions regarding what we just went through, if you want to know some details about the deployment, I'm happy to share it with you. So just drop a question below and I'll try to answer it. And yep, that's it for the stand-up. Nothing in the chat right now. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, hit like, share this video with your friends. And I'll see you tomorrow on our next daily Scrum.